Welcome back to an episode of SmoothBrainEDH, where you get the smoothest plays with the biggest brains. We got another exciting game for you all this week, so let's see what they brought to the table. First up is Kelvin on Ixhel, Scion of Atraxa. This list was submitted by our patron Kelvin. It is an Abzan Toxic deck, loading up opponents with poison counters in order to start stealing cards with Ixhel's ability. Next up is Sam on Doric, Nature's Warden. This mono green deck is focused around legendary creatures, using Doric's transform side to buff up Sam's creatures to beat down opponents' life totals. Our third player today is Jake on Delney, Streetwise Lookout. This mono-white deck is all about small creatures. Delney makes these creatures hard to block, as well as doubling up triggers they may have. Last is Chandler on Pantlaza, Sun Favored. This Naya deck is all about dinosaurs, using Pantlaza to get a ton of value from dinosaurs entering the battlefield with the Discover trigger, then beating faces in with dinos. We're about to hop right into the game, but before that, go and give us a like, subscribe, and ring the notification bell so you don't miss any of our new content. We have links to our social media, public Discord server, Decklist, and our Patreon in the description. We're partnered with Dragon Shield. Check out our affiliate link in the description if you're looking to pick up any sleeves, deck boxes, or playmats, and use code SMOOTH5 at checkout for 5% off your order. We are also partnered with Inked Gaming. Our affiliate link is also in the description if you're looking to make any custom playmats. Now, on to the gameplay.
Looks like Jake wins the die roll, and he'll start off with a tapped Minas Tirith and passes to Chandler. Chandler plays a Jetmir's Garden and passes to Caden, and Caden will go turn 1 Forest into Llanowar Elves and then pass to Sam. And Sam has the legendary start of Forest, Jeweled Lotus, Sacrifice Jeweled Lotus, and cast Doric. When she enters, Sam will tutor a basic forest to the battlefield and pass to Jake while searching. And he'll start his turn off with a basic Plains, and then he'll tap for 2 and cast Assemble the Players. He'll take a peek at the top of his library and then pass to Chandler. Chandler will play a Plains and then cast Flowering of the White Tree and pass to Caden, who starts off with a tap to the Black Gate, then he'll tap for 2 and cast an Arcane Signet. The turn is then passed, and Sam will start his turn off with another basic Forest. He'll then move to combat and swing for 3 at Caden. He'll remember Vigilance in a second. Then post-combat, he'll cast Selvala, Heart of the Wilds, and then pass the turn to Jake. And Jake will just play another basic Plains, then cast Delney, and then pass. Now on Chandler's turn, he'll play a basic Forest, then tap for 3 and cast Welcome To. The first ability only has 1 target, so Caden's Arcane Signet becomes an 0/4 wall. Then the turn is passed to Caden, where he'll start off with an Undergrowth Stadium. Then he'll tap for 3 and cast Infectious Inquiry. He'll draw 2, lose 2, and then each of his opponents get a poison counter. The turn is then passed to Sam, and he'll start off with another Forest. He'll then move to combat, and he swings Doric at Jake and Selvala at Chandler. Attack trigger, and he'll pay 2 to Doric to transform her. And this will give Selvala +2/+2, and both Jake and Chandler take their damage. Then post-combat, Sam will cast Surfarin the Hengehammer. And then the turn is passed to Jake, where he'll start off with Spirited Companion. Upon ETB, he'll draw 2. He'll then play another basic Plains and cast Wall of Omens, drawing an additional 2. He'll then move to combat and hit Chandler for 2 Commander, and then pass the turn. Let's move to Chandler's first main phase, where Welcome To will tick up and create him a 3/3 dinosaur with Trample, and it gains haste. He'll then play a Cinderglade and then cast Curious Altasaur. Then he'll move to combat and swing his dinosaur token at Caden. And since it's a 4/4 thanks to Flowering of the White Tree, Caden will just take the 4 and Chandler draws a card, then passes the turn. Now on Caden's turn, he'll start off with a Vault of Champions, and then he'll tap for 4 and cast his commander, Ixhel. Then he'll tap for 2 and enchant Ixhel with Necrogen Communion. Double toxic! Then the turn is passed to Sam, where his commander will transform back to its front side on upkeep. And would you believe me if I told you that Sam plays another basic Forest? Well, he does, and after this he'll move to combat. He'll swing Selvala at Chandler, Surfarin at Jake, and his commander at Caden. There are 2 attack triggers, and Sam will resolve Doric's first by paying 2 mana to transform her, giving each of his other legendary creatures +2/+2 and trample. And then Surfarin's ability will resolve, giving Doric +4/+4. Jake will chump with his 0/4 wall. Chandler puts his 3/6 in front of the 4-power Selvala, and then Caden will put Ixhel in front of Doric to reduce his command damage down to 5. Ixhel will die, but thankfully the aura will return it to the battlefield. The turn is then passed to Jake, and he'll start off by playing War Room and then casting Sword of Feast and Famine. Jake then asks the table if they've ever played Dark Souls, as he equips the sword to the dog. The dog then bonks Sam for 3. Damage trigger, Jake untaps his lands, and Sam discards a Crossing Grip. We'll then move to Jake's second main, where he'll cast a Militia Bugler. Its 2 ETB triggers will reveal an Auriok Champion and a Selfless Spirit. Sword is then moved over to Delney, and then the turn is passed to Chandler, where Welcome To destroys all walls and transforms into Jurassic Park. Then Chandler will play a basic mountain as land for turn. He'll then tap Jurassic Park for 2, and then an additional 3 to cast Pantlaza. There's a Discover ETB trigger, and it's Discover 5, thanks to Flowering of the White Tree, and top card is Wrathful Raptor, so Chandler casts it. He'll then move to combat and swing for 3 at Caden with his Curious Altasaur. Caden decides not to block because even if he does jump with Ixhel, a trigger from Wrathful Raptors will kill Ixhel, so he'll take the 3 and Chandler draws a card. Then the turn is passed. And Caden starts off with a Shattered Sanctum as land for turn. He'll then cast a Birds of Paradise, and then a Phyrexian Arena, and then a Grafted Butcher. After this, Caden will move to combat, and he swings Ixhel at Sam, dealing 3 commander damage and planting 2 more poison counters on him. Then Caden will pass the turn, and on end step, Sam is corrupted, so he'll pass a card over to Caden. Then we'll move to Sam's turn, where his commander transforms back. He'll then activate Selvala, floating 3 mana, and he'll use that mana to cast Reiki, History of Kamigawa. Sam will then move to combat and swing Surferin at Caden and Doric at Jake. Attack triggers will essentially go the same as last time. Surferin will target Doric, and Sam pays 2 to transform Doric. And of course he has the transformation trigger happen first, so Surferin will get +2/+2 in trample, and then Doric will get +4/+4. Moving to blocks, Jake will put Delney under Doric to absorb 4 damage and take 6, and then Caden will put his 3/6 under the 4/4 and take none. After combat, the turn is passed to Jake. And he'll start off with another basic plains. Then he'll tap for 3 and cast Rumor Gatherer, and then he'll cast the Auriok Champion. Rumor Gatherer will trigger twice, so he'll scry 1 to the bottom, and then draw a card. Jake will then move to combat, and he swings for 3 at Chandler, and then he'll swing for Commander at Sam. Before blocks though, Sam will Nature's Claim the Sword of Feast and Famine, but thanks to Delney's ability, they still can't block, so Chandler and him will take their damage. Without the Sword of Feast and Famine untap, Jake will now just pass the turn, and Chandler starts off with an Exotic Orchard. He'll then tap 5 lands, and then Jurassic Park to cast Apex Altasaur. Oh god, there's a Wrathful Raptors out. There's about to be a lot of triggers on the stack. First fight trigger will target Reiki, but there's a bunch of other triggers Chandler decides to resolve first. First of all, Jake gains 2 life off Auriok Champion, and then he'll draw a card off Selvala. Oh yeah, and he'll just casually discover 11. It hits Hunting Velociraptors, which he'll cast for free. And Jake gains 2 more life. So Reiki is obliterated, putting another fight and 1 damage with Wrathful Raptors on the stack, which goes at Birds of Paradise. And the new fight hits Llanowar Elves. Double triggers again, damage goes at Spirited Companion, fight hits Auriok Champion. Double triggers again, damage kills Rumor Gatherer, and fight goes at the Bugler. 2 more triggers go on the stack, damage goes at Delney, fight goes at Selvala. Triggers, damage goes at Surferin, and the next fight hits Grafted Butcher. More triggers. 2 damage goes at Ixhel, and with 9 damage now marked on the Apex Altasaur, Chandler will have his last fight go at Doric. Doric is killed, the Altasaur takes 6 damage, and Wrathful Raptors will deal that 6 damage to Ixhel. Wow, Apex Altasaur and Wrathful Raptors has just officially become a one-sided board wipe. Well, the table's clear now, so he's going to move to combat and swing 6 at Jake, 7 at Sam, and 6 Commander at Caden. And upon connecting, he'll draw 4 cards. He'll then pass the turn, and he has to discard 3 lands on cleanup. And the table realizes, with 3 lands and Apex Altasaur in the graveyard, Chandler can escape the Altasaur with Jurassic Park next turn. Let's move to Caden's turn now, where Phyrexian Arena will draw him an extra card at the cost of a life. He'll then play an Indatha Triome as land for turn. Then he'll cast a Glistening Sphere, and when it ETBs, he'll proliferate everyone's poison counters. Then he'll pass the turn to Sam, who is unfortunately a creature deck, and they're under the gun of a potential Apex Altasaur again, so he just passes the turn to Jake. And Jake starts off by casting a Solemn Simulacrum off the top of his library, and this will get him a basic plains to the battlefield tapped. Then he'll just pass the turn to Chandler, where he'll move to combat again, and he'll send double Raptors at Jake for 10, 7 at Sam again, and 6 Commander at Caden again. And they all just take the damage. This draws Chandler 5 more cards. Post-combat, he'll play a Forest as land for turn, which he uses to cast a Soul Ring. Then Chandler will tap for 7, completely forgetting that he can use the Prowl cost, and cast Galta and Mavrin. It resolves, and a Discover 13 trigger goes on the stack, and this will hit Regisaur Alpha, which he'll cast for free, and then he gets another 3/3 Dinosaur. Then after Galta, he'll follow it up with a Galta. Then he'll pass the turn to Caden. And Caden will draw and lose 1 on his upkeep, and then he'll recast Ixhel. He'll then cast a Glistener Elf, and then a Pestilent Siphoner. He'll then pass the turn, and he'll steal another card from Sam on instep. Now on Sam's turn, he'll play Beseiju as land for turn and recast Doric. When she ETBs, he tutors another force to the battlefield tapped. And then the turn is passed to Jake. He decides to get lost Wrathful Raptors on instep though. Then we'll move to Jake's turn, where he'll cast and equip Blade of Selves to Solemn Simulacrum. He'll then swing the simulacrum at Chandler and create 2 more copies of it. He'll tutor 2 more planes to the battlefield tapped, and everyone will block their solemn simulacrum, and Jake will draw 3 cards. And then he'll pass the turn to Chandler, who sees that everyone is pretty much tapped out and F6'd, so he decides to go for the funny kill. He'll start by escaping Wrathful Raptors. Then for 1 mana, he'll cast Blasphemous Act. There are no responses around the table, so everything is dealt 13 damage. 9 Wrathful Raptor triggers go on the stack for 13 damage each. Chandler will point 3 at Caden, 3 at Sam, and 3 at Jake, and they all get blasted by 39 damage, which kills all of his opponents, making him and Pantlaza the winners. Congratulations. Welcome to the end of the video, everybody. Thank you so much for watching. What did you think of that game? Let us know down in the comments below. I personally really enjoyed narrating it. It's always fun to see dinosaurs pull out a win, in my opinion. If you do end up commenting something while you're down there, don't forget to check all of our links down in the description and like and subscribe if you haven't already. But that's enough out of me today. I hope you all have a smooth day.